Hello! This feels weird, haven't done this in a while. Hi! I have with me some water and some coffee and my Winnie the Pooh mug. All of the best things. So this is my first video back from my YouTube hiatus, my AUTHORTUBE hiatus. In fact, I am filming it on the 8th, which hopefully is the day it goes up as well. So I'm going to link the video down below where I talked about why I was going on a bit of a YouTube hiatus so that I don't have to delve into all of that again. And instead I can just talk about the lessons I learned along the way and answer if AUTHORTUBE affects my writing or how it affects my writing, and some epiphanies that I had throughout the month of January. It is worth noting that I had to start a little bit later than I expected, so I just kind of continued that into February, and the only time I filmed was because I wanted to have something to show for when I completed Project Death, because I did complete Project Death in January, and I sent that off to Jessica in February. I was really flirting with the deadline, which is actually something that we'll talk about. Before we delve into it fully, I do want to say that this is much more feel-based in how AUTHORTUBE affects my writing rather than having the stats for it. One, because if I was gonna have the stats, I think I'd have to go back to my mill-wordy days when I was actually keeping track. And I'm at very different points in the projects that I'm working on, so I didn't really know if I could count that or use that. And two, I had a neck injury in January, which took me out for several work days, which was unfortunate. And you know, this is one of those things where it's like life just happens, right? But I didn't want to take that away from my AUTHORTUBE free month. So instead, we're just gonna go by feel, and I hope that's okay. But the first thing to say is that I really do not think I would have completed Project Death in January had I been trying to do AUTHORTUBE stuff at the same time. I didn't realize how much of my brain was taken up by AUTHORTUBE stuff. And it sounds silly, but I'm talking about like the brain space for coming up with ideas, because I was generating a lot of ideas still in the first like couple weeks, because it's something you do regularly, you just think about it often. So besides not having to edit any videos, which is the biggest time suck, not filming anything, and at a certain point tapering off on even my ideas for AUTHORTUBE, freed up the brain space. It was all about Project Death, which frankly it needed to be. It really did need to be because of the neck injury in part. But I did it. I freaking did it. I'm so excited. I am so glad for that project to be off with Jessica. And one of the things that I can't quite separate out is how much of my brain was not just producing AUTHORTUBE content, but also consuming AUTHORTUBE content, or consuming YouTube at all, because my hiatus was from YouTube as a whole. So I wasn't watching any videos. The exceptions I made were just for live streams that were literally happening live. And I did break this once for Nia's the Fiction of Fiction hosts and AUTHORTUBers React live stream, and they have different topics that affect the AUTHORTUBE community. And we'll get to this later, but not making videos and not watching videos, I really didn't feel like part of the AUTHORTUBE community anymore. So I guess that's why I caved here. And I'm so glad I did, because they're very entertaining and I'm excited to actually chat with all of them. So I'm gonna get to be part of AUTHORTUBers React, I think in March. So I'm really excited for that. But I think kind of similar, not feeling part of the community because I wasn't consuming it in the way that when I left Twitter, I no longer had updates in the palm of my hand about what was happening in the publishing industry, or like with my writing friends. Like I couldn't get it as quickly, and I needed to not be on Twitter for my own mental health reasons, and I do not regret it one bit. But I did feel that same pull of just like a bit of FOMO, I guess, being like, I don't know what's going on. Thankfully, I have my co-writer who still sends me really great like tweet threads and stuff within the publishing industry, so that helps me sort of stay on top of things, though not nearly the same way. And we have live streams, which allow me to get to chat with people and still feel part of that. I feel like live streams in some capacity are kind of like a community in their own. Even though it's still, you know, a subset. But yeah, so anyways, I didn't realize how big a factor that was going to be in my decision for if I would ever do this again, which we will get to at the very end. I apologize if I'm all over the place. I have not filmed in so long. So like I mentioned, I had a ton of ideas for AuthorTube videos at the beginning of the month, where I was still very like entrenched in the community. Like it had only been 3 days since I'd watched a video, or it had only been 3 days since I'd had to think about making a video. And so there were just, I was still peaking at all of the normal amounts of levels, the normal amounts of ideas that I get, but that did taper, which I actually think is a really good parallel and thing to remind myself for other creative outlets. I don't know that I've ever truly bought into the idea that you need to write every day, but I'm always someone who's come pretty close to writing every day. But I think this does go to show that the more of something you do and the more regularly you do it, the easier it is. And I find that is true for also when I'm doing revision versus drafting versus whatever. Like once I'm in the drafting flow, it's really easy to draft. But it does take a little bit when I'm switching from revising to drafting again. There's, you know, a surge of like excitement, like I get to draft, but there's also this kind of panic of like, oh my God, I don't have anything to work with. I have to do all of this just from scratch. It's just me versus the blank page that I must fill, you know? There's just a switch in your head. And the same thing is true when I have to go from drafting something to revising or the later stages of editing, where I'm just like, oh man, I have not done this part of this entire writing process in a while. But the more you do, the more frequently you do it, the easier it is. The fourth thing on my list is that I did have to combat some guilt of not uploading and also not answering comments. I had intended to have one video per week for the month of January and then do a live stream once a week to kind of counteract that, so that I would still have 2 videos going up on my channel. This is as much for like YouTube algorithmic reasons, even though live streams are kind of like not the greatest for the algorithm still, but also just like so that I was like peace and didn't have anything for y'all in January, even though I wasn't doing stuff in January, right? It has been a hot minute, and I actually don't know that I've ever had videos planned that far in advance, and I still didn't get all the ones I wanted to. So I didn't get anything up for a while. So y'all are seeing this video, I imagine it's been 2+ weeks or something since I had a video up, since I didn't actually manage to get that last video done. I was like, no, my AuthorTube hiatus is more important. What I wanted to do for myself was more important than getting this video up, which is also something I wanted to do, and that's the constant battle we must face as, I don't know, creators, YouTubers, whatever. Not slowing, I cannot read my own handwriting. But that guilt also faded away, and which was nice that like my own brain space was not as occupied by YouTube things, and I think that was just healthier for me in general, and it's nice. It's a nice reminder. I think also not answering comments, the comments are one of my favorite parts, because again, that feels more like I'm interacting with the community, and I've been bad about leaving comments on other people's videos, which is also something that I really miss and will do again now that I have done with my hiatus. That being said, maybe 1 out of 15 comments that I'll read through and do is like a little bit negative or something, or constructive in a way that, or maybe intended to be constructive, but I actually don't find it all that constructive or something. And not on new videos, but when I'm just doing all of my comments, I'll get stuff from old videos, and the ones from old videos always seem to be like the meanest comments. And so it's just nice not having that level of criticism that I'm having to see every day, frankly. So it was a good reminder that not that it's not real, and not that some people don't have valid things, but like that it really shouldn't be as big of a factor in my life as I was making it. So anyways, yes, a good reminder. I did want to share my stats from YouTube though, so that would require me to have my computer, maybe. Or maybe I wouldn't. Let's see if I can do it on my phone. I have not opened Studio in so long. In fact, I realized I was panic opening YouTube Studio, which is the creator version, so you can see all your stats on your phone and stuff, which again, not potentially the healthiest, but I have not looked at this in a while. Okay, oh, this is fun. So in the last 28 days, having videos go up, but like, I'll put on the screen how many videos I've actually had go up on this time, because I don't think it was all that many. My estimated revenue is $383.78, which is about half of what it usually is. I usually don't take into account anything until I like see it hit my bank or have it a month later, which is how YouTube does it. But while I think all of the advice is don't get into AuthorTube specifically for making money, it is a source of income for me that I can kind of hodgepodge together with other sources of income, which I'm very lucky to have this YouTube source. But ultimately, taking a break where I'm not uploading videos is not costing me because it's not earned, right? But it's, you know, this is something I'd have to factor in to my budget if it was something that I was going to do regularly, or just one of those decisions that people have to make when they're scaling things back. The real kicker for me though was less the YouTube revenue and more I had signed some contracts to do sponsored videos. And I try not to have too many of them. I feel very fortunate that I have any at all. And it is very nice and helps me pay, you know, bills. But I signed a 1-year contract for something so that every month I was uploading a video for this company, which is a company that I really believe in and I really enjoy. And I thought that that was going to be fine because in my 4 years of regularly uploading, I really have never missed that many videos. Like, you can see how many videos I have on my channel. I upload really regularly. And then all of a sudden, after 4 years of regular uploads, I was like, what if I didn't do that? Or what if I had sort of didn't do that? Anyways, I am a big fan of Evelyn from the internet, and I remember watching her channel as she was taking a break and phased out for like almost an entire year, where the only videos she was uploading were sponsored videos because it is a contract that you had signed. And I wish I would have learned that lesson then. And it's something that for me for the future, I probably won't sign a contract specifically for this kind of thing for that long in the future, as much as I love the company, right? So anyways, number 5, that was my 5th lesson. Oh, yes, the next one is that returning to chatting to the camera is weird, which I think just goes to show that practice makes perfect, or practice makes something normal and regular. I haven't felt this way, this kind of like vaguely nervous energy as I filmed something before in a long time, like back to, I don't know, before I'd gotten regular with it, you know, maybe that first year or something of making videos. And it's a feeling specifically in regards to YouTube, but it's a feeling that I'd forgotten when I think about all the people who are starting YouTube for the first time now. And so it's kind of nice to get to feel a part of that again. I think the final note before we talk about if I would ever do this again is on my productivity, maybe not even writing related, though certainly that too, but like what I did if I wasn't watching YouTube or creating YouTube is that I ended up reading a lot more. I think I genuinely did read more. I think I wrote more. I puzzled and listened to podcasts more. Yeah, it was, only because reading is part of my goal. I think watching YouTube is fine. I still love YouTube. I'm very glad to be back. I would see videos that would like pop up because I had the notification bell on for someone and I had to put them on a playlist and just like click away and be like, this is for when I've returned. So I'm not trying to sit here and say that reading is better. I'm just saying that reading has been part of my goals to read more, and I'm actually finally doing it after saying, you know, this all the time. I also tried to do painting for the first time, some oil painting. I made an ice cream Mickey. My dad said it looked more like Mickey Bear than Mickey Mouse ice cream, but it's fine. I have a little bit of something that needs to be filled in still. But also did coloring books and listen to podcasts more. Like, I didn't fill the time with more screen time, which is good and was part of my concern. And I do think that reading generated a shit ton of ideas for a whole lot of things. I was just texting myself like relentlessly with ideas for stories, ideas for even YouTube videos, but ideas for just like things I want to try, and it was really wonderful. So I'm hoping that I don't go on a YouTube binge. I hope I can ease myself into getting to watch a little bit more while still keeping some of the good habits. This did teach me though, I need a full day away from work, I think. And work can be work in quotes, which I kind of put YouTube under work in quotes sometimes because it is work and it is stuff but it's also things that I just like to do for fun. Then you have some money element, you have some criticism for, you know, whatever. There are elements to this that do indeed make it work without the quotes. But rather than taking like full-on breaks for anything or full-on weekends, which has been a goal of mine for the past year and a half or something that I've been talking about and not succeeding in, I would work. I would do YouTube work. I would edit a vlog on the weekend and be like, oh, well, it's fine because it's just YouTube, it's fine. But what happened is I think it didn't allow me to ever just like actually fully feel like I'd had a break, which I think lowered my productivity during the rest of the week and stuff, because it was never just like editing one video. It's like, well, what if I did this and do this and this? So while I realized that I got bored if I took the whole weekend off, I do think one day just to chill and do nothing and force myself to do nothing or to try a new fun hobby has been really cool and really rewarding. And I don't know that I would have learned this lesson had I not taken YouTube off and realized what I was kind of doing mentally with the work, not work situation. So anyways, that's all to say that I would do this again. I think I would prepare better, hopefully. And I would at least have, you know, one video a week so I don't do my little stress thing. But yeah, I think I'd do this. I would do this again. It was nice to just have this kind of reset of sorts. It was nice to feel the newness from this thing that I've been doing for so long. And with the exception of missing the YouTube community, the AUTHORTUBE community more specifically, I think all of the rest were just positives. So I'm happy to be back. I like making videos. I did film a little bit for the end of Project Death, and I'm excited to get to revisit that and edit the vlog, which I've not done. So all good things, almost all good things, all good lessons learned. But thank you guys so much for watching this video. Did not take another sip of my drink while I was filming this entire thing. Cheers. I will see you all very soon with a new one, which I've not said in so long, but I'm so excited to say it again. Okay, bye.